This is Martin Giles of the Guildford Dragon News, and I'm with three councillors after the debate on the finance situation at Guildford Borough Council and the decision to delegate powers for further progress on the Wayside Urban Village project. First of all, I'm coming to Richard Lucas. Richard, you're the lead councillor for finance. From tonight's debate, it seems that the situation has got more serious. Can you explain why?
I would say that our assessment of the seriousness of the situation and the urgency of dealing with it hasn't changed, but our grasp of some of the detail involved and the numbers involved has gotten better. So we have a better understanding of what we're dealing with.
Okay, and in percentage terms, what degree of risk is there for the council having to issue a 114 notice?
I'm not going to put a figure on it, but I would say my assessment now is that this is a situation we should be able to manage. We should be able to avoid a 114, and nothing that I've seen has told us that we will run into that. We do have to take serious action to get there, though.
Thank you. David, I'm coming to you now. Now, you were critical earlier about the economic handling of the last administration. But isn't a lot of the blame down to the restrictions put by your party at national level, taking away the grants? And then on top of that, of course, what no one could foresee, the pandemic and the rise in interest rates.
Well, of course, Martin, I can't speak for the government as a whole. The whole country is facing these issues. Money is tight. You know, and in an environment where money's tight, you have to be extremely competent with respect to how you manage and control your finances. Accounting errors, difficulties, opaqueness, they don't help. And as Richard just said, we're trying to get to the bottom of the actual scope of the financial challenge that we've got to fix. We're not there yet. But I cannot speak for the government of this country. I'm fortunately not authorised to do so.
Okay, I thought you were better connected, but never mind.
I'm working on it.
But one of the legacies of the last Tory administration was Future Guildford. And in the report in January, it said that some of the reductions in staffing under Future Guildford had impacted the effectiveness of the financial team. What would you say to that?
Well, I wouldn't say specifically for the financial team. Joss, I think, talked about it. Any staff reduction and cost containment programme has implications. It's not a nice, straight, steady line. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. But you've got to look at this over the term of the cost reduction programme. Was there a need to reduce cost and staffing levels in Guildford Borough Council with Future Guildford? Yes. Was it the right thing to do? Yes. Was it implemented as well as it could have been? Possibly. You know, that's all I can say to Martin, but you know, one has to manage the costs, and I'm afraid to say, as a council, one of our biggest components of cost is staffing.
Okay, and now I come to Joss Bigmore, leader of the Residents for Guildford and Villages Party. Joss, before you were quite optimistic, or more optimistic. In fact, you were a bit critical that the council was being too pessimistic about the financial situation. Have you changed your mind too?
No, I still think, as I'd agree with Councillor Lucas, that we should be able to manage our way out of this. My concern is actually a little more now than it was back in July, because I think we're wasting time to make difficult decisions. I appreciate there is a need to be confident in the position, but there was no way it would suddenly become a surplus. So the fact we haven't made any cuts to service in the 4 months of this administration means we're going to have to cut deeper in the next 8 months of the year to reach the year end a break-even position, which is what I think we're going to be committed to. So I still think we should be able to get out of this position. I still don't think it was the greatest report I've ever read back in July, but it is what it is. And I think if we all work together, which we've shown we can do in the first meeting of the financial working group, we should get out of this and try and minimise the impact to the taxpayer.
Okay, and regarding the Wayside Urban Village, can we still afford to progress with this project, or is it that we can't afford not to?
I think we're past the point of are we going to go forward with it or not. Contracts are in place. We are committed to it. Successive administrations have seen that the benefits of this, the new sewage treatment plant, the new depot, the customer recycling centre and the housing in a very sustainable location, the benefits far outweigh the harms. There are still many options. Do we develop it ourselves? Do we package up the land as it becomes available and sell it, so to remove some of the risk? There are lots of things we can do over the next decade as it's delivered to try and mitigate some of this risks. So I think we still have a lot of degrees of freedom to play with that project, but it may not be 100% council delivered anymore, or it may still be. But until we have a bit more information and a bit more stability in the economic outlook, I think it's impossible to make that call.
And judging by the noddings of the head off camera, I take it you agree with that assessment regarding Wayside?
I do. I mean, I think there's going to be a whole range of options, as Councillor Bigmore said. We've got to evaluate those options. The number, the level of affordable housing, the level of commercial units, packaging the land when it's with approval for sale, when it's available for sale. These have all got huge, significant cash flow implications.
Richard, do you have anything to add?
Yep, we are committed to the programme, and contracts in place for the movement of the sewage works already. So that is in fact in process. We have options in terms of how we look at managing downstream risk and trying to manage the borrowing levels that we face. An interesting point is that to a large extent the borrowing involved in the Wayside Urban Village is beyond the horizon of the medium-term financial plan. So Wayside Urban Village, although it's one of our major project at the moment, is actually not something that's involved in the minutiae of the financial issues that we're trying to deal with at the moment.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thanks.
Well done, Mike.